What's happening, everybody? Happy Wednesday. We got another DeFi dive this week. Not too many announcements, just one big announcement. I got 100 subscribers. You know, most people celebrate 10,000 or whatever, but I'm going to celebrate the first 100. Again, thank you guys for supporting this channel, watching the videos, subscribing. It's awesome. Again, like I said, I got nothing to sell you. I just bring the builders to you guys to explain the platform so you can understand DeFi a little more. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Brian. I'm the former COO of Swapsicle Dex. Previously, I was in real estate, and now I am a Forex futures prop trader. So that's sort of what I do. And then on Wednesdays, I like to host streams and, talk to builders and see what the space is developing. So today, I'm excited to introduce you guys to a platform on the Polygon network. It's called OSIS World, and we're joined by Jalal today. So, Jalal, how are you, bud?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the introduction, Brian. I'm doing great.
Awesome to hear. Awesome to hear. So, the people are dying to know, how did you get into crypto, and what is sort of your background that made you want to get into kind of a tokenization platform?
Great question. I got into crypto in 2017 at that initial boom. It was like ICO season. Binance was listing coins every 30 seconds. It seemed like everything was going like to the moon and crashing moments later. It was insane, and it piqued my interest because I was investing at the time in just the standard stock market. My background is in finance and accounting. I graduated school at that time, university, and I was seeing all this crazy action, and I was like, what the hell is going on? This is completely unregulated. Nobody knows what they're buying into. I was seeing like today's meme coins. I was seeing things that were even more ridiculous back then in 2017. And I'm like, how are people putting $100 million towards this? From one side, I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. But on the other, I was like, well, clearly there's a lot of attention here. There's a lot of traction, and there's a reason for it. And that's when I got introduced to the Bitcoin white paper, read through it, and I'm like, whoa. So this vision of a truly free global economy and a currency that's in people's hands, not dictated by external entities and institutions. It's like, no, this is really our thing, and it's the only thing that's our thing. Looking forward into the future, we need to have something that's ours as regular people. And that was what Bitcoin created, and the vision that I saw Satoshi have. So that got me super interested into the Web3 crypto space. It wasn't until 2021 when I felt like things were more mature that I got into it as an entrepreneur, as a business owner and creator. And that's when OSIS started.
Yeah, I mean, the summer of DeFi kind of, I think, like you said, it had a foundation, but it had no direction. It was kind of just like, look at this new stuff. And everybody's like, all right, well, what can we do with it? I mean, it's like, and then there's a lot of, quote unquote haters, if you will, of the space that say, oh, they're just, nodes and databases and stuff like that. It's like, no, but you don't understand. And I rattle off capabilities all the time. I said, ask your doctor, nurse, whoever, the securest way to send information to a specialist. They fax information, right? Mm-hmm. Because private intranets can't communicate with other intranets, right? But if you have an intermediary blockchain that you could store stuff on, private intranets could connect to that blockchain and grab the information as needed and things like that. So it's like people, and it's no fault to everyone. We all go through this with the internet. What's an email address? This @ symbol, like, what am I going to do with that, right? So it's like everybody wants that sort of Snapchat moment right as things are developed. And you're like, give it some time. Mm-hmm. We're going to develop, and then we'll go from there. So it's just like, that's sort of the progression of things. And again, there's things that this technology will utilize in our lifetime that we can't even think of right now, because the rails aren't in place, and there's so many things that still need to come along, privacy and all these different things, verification. Um, so yeah, I just totally agree with that. It's like you want to dip your foot in, but because you have that entrepreneurial spirit, but at the
Mhm.
same time, you're like, what am I diving into?
Exactly, exactly. There wasn't really any guidance technically. There was nobody in the space talking about things like literally what your this whole channel is educating people. There was a whole lot of gray area with everything, and the people who knew better were often scammers and bad actors in this space, and it gives the whole space and technology such a bad rep. uh, I like to bring people's attention to the 90s for those who are like, conscious and working and living and hearing about the internet, seeing Amazon and getting scammed on the internet for like ordering something online, this new thing. A lot of people were like, oh no, the internet is some bullshit. We're going to stick to living how we live. We love going to the store and buying our whatever you're trying to buy. We love buying our appliances at Best Buy. A lot of people were like that. They couldn't have imagined that this internet thing would suddenly revolutionize e-commerce, and boom, it's online. Uh, people didn't People couldn't see that we would all be on the internet 24/7, 365, like sleeping next to the internet at night kind of thing.
Well, yeah, it's so funny you say that because I read a book one time about what Amazon, and not to get too far off topic here, but what Amazon's sort of plan was. And if you notice in the very beginning of Amazon, when people were kind of skeptical, I'm not going to get subscriptions, I'm not going to have this stuff delivered. What they did is they would price match any box retail store,
Mhm,
and they lost money for
mhm,
like 5 years, right? But they grabbed the entire market share because now you can't live without your Amazon Prime,
mhm,
right? You don't check prices anymore, right? So that was in their book about how this was like their whole business model. Hey, we'll take a loss up front to get everybody addicted to this, and then we'll charge whatever we want because they have to have it. They have to have their paper towels on subscription. They have to have the delivery, and they need their Prime memberships and everything like that. So it was like kind of genius. I don't want to say nefarious because they knew
mhm.
what they were doing, and
It's
they
business.
left it. Yeah, they left it up to the consumer to say, "Hey, you're going to get addicted to this, and you're going to not be able to live without it. So this is
It's
your life now."
it's a superior service, and the same way things were back then, where it was new, the internet and Web 2 and e-commerce and things. It's like that's the same place that we're at right now with Web 3. It's simply a superior service when it comes to like sending money and sending secure things to each other. Having ownership on the internet, it's just more secure. It's not something that's completely different and out of this world, and what a lot of people might currently with user experience, they might feel like this is something that I got to go out of my way to do. It's one of these things that, just like the internet, is going to integrate into everybody's lives and experiences, and most people aren't even going to realize that they're using the blockchain on a daily basis from their phones.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell people that all the time. I said, why should, Spirit Airlines or Southwest, Delta, any of these have say over your plane ticket? If you miss your plane, you shouldn't go to Delta to have to deal with it. You should be able to just have a secondary marketplace where you can sell your plane ticket. There's a verification of who's now owns the ticket through an
Mhm.
NFT. And like, this is the world that people need to start thinking about because this is the future, right? And it's a decentralized way to, like you said, store data, make transfers, in-game skins. If you're playing a video game, how many parents would just rejoice at the fact that their kid bought a skin in a game and no longer plays the game, but he could resell that to somebody else or he could transfer it to somebody else and all these different things. So it's a shift in mindset of what you're trying to accomplish, I think. You know, everybody, it's nobody's fault, right? Most people view the world from the current world that they're in, and they don't necessarily see into the future. Oh, well, that's a little crazy, right? I'm not gonna have a phone in my pocket. That's insane. I mean, like you hear older people talk about the computers and stuff. They're like, you're gonna have a computer in your house? What are you, a gazillionaire? Like you're not gonna have that in your house. So anyways, I'm so off topic. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We're going to jump in right now, Jalal. What is the OSIS platform and what are you guys trying to accomplish?
So the OSIS platform, we call it a decentralized sovereign organization. I'll take the fancy words out of it and say that we are a tokenization platform. Essentially, what we have a big focus on is helping people transition from what they know now, a lot like Brian and the channel, to what this current space and technology is doing. We want everyone to be an early adopter. We want everyone to know how they can benefit and use these things to build in their lives and really change their lives and ultimately create a level of equal opportunity globally, because blockchain and Web3 and the technology is truly a global technology. It's kind of like how a lot of countries, a lot of developing countries never even touched landline phones. They all went immediately to cell phones, and suddenly they have social media and access to tools that are free or very easy to use to then create more. So OSIS is building tools and platforms behind that to give people more access, to create equal opportunity, and ultimately in the future, like a free global economy. And that's where our vision is set on.
Okay. So when somebody tokenizes an asset, right? Or, that's sort of the future plans, what you guys are building. How do they know, let's say I tokenize a house or I tokenize my car, anything like that. I'm not super familiar with the platform, so I'm going to let you explain it. But I just wonder, is it something to where, maybe in the future again, where 20 people could own the mortgage of my house? Is it something like that instead of the bank?
Yes, yes. So the concept of tokenization, if we break it down for those of you who don't know, um, in its very simplest format is what we saw in 2017, what we're seeing today when people create currencies, which is something that has never been able to be done before. But currencies like literally like Bitcoin and Ethereum, um, eh, that is the simplest version of tokenization that we have today. What people are building and what we're building out to is ways to tokenize more than just a currency or a security, but tokenize different kinds of assets, real world assets, your brand, your company's equity, like Brian mentioned, the mortgage of a home. And the power behind tokenization comes a lot in the form of fractionalization, giving people more access to things. Right now, if you look at like the real estate industry, it's a very old industry. It's basically like hundreds of years old, and we haven't changed all that much. Like you have a house and you got to write contracts and you got to physically sign it and stamp it, and there's a bunch of people involved, and eventually you get this house. But you as an individual, especially, I'm from Canada, it costs like $1 million to get your own house now. Not many people can afford that mortgage. You got to have a lot of capital in order to get involved into real estate, to invest in it, or to even own your own home. You've got to have a lot of capital to get involved in a lot of things in this world. What tokenization and fractionalization does is take like a commercial real estate project, or really anything that's very expensive that normally you would need tens of millions of dollars to get involved with, and you tokenize the ownership of that into, say, 10 million pieces. Now you could get involved for $1. You can be invested into this major commercial construction for $1. You can get invested into gold bars for $100 or $1,000 rather than paying out 70, $80,000. It's this concept that it really reaches into every single industry in the world and brings more liquidity and potential for individuals to get involved. Imagine if everything in the world of value could be on the stock market. That is the vision of what tokenization brings. And it's something that today technically is actually very difficult to do. Uh, when we got into the space in 2017, it just was not even in the picture. Like you had to have you had to find one of 100 extremely specialized blockchain engineers to get you into the space, and it was all this super high tech code. Today, even if you go and try to build your own smart contract, which is the coding layer of tokenizing something, it's thousands of lines of codes. You need a specialist. It takes hours and hours of them to do, and it costs a lot of money. And what we did at OSIS to start off, our first product is taking that and democratizing that by creating a way for people like your grandma could do it in under 60 seconds to tokenize essentially anything. And that product is available. I can show a quick demo too. It's literally a 60-second video. It's a lot of fun to
Yeah,
watch.
yeah, we're definitely gonna get to that. I just like you said, I think it's so cool. The way I envision is sort of like an Amazon for finance, right? So let's say you wanna own you've got a $10,000 to invest, right? I wanna own a little bit of, some residential real estate in Japan. I wanna have some gold. I want some Tesla stock, and it's all bundled into this one thing.
Mhm.
And I think the best sort of metaphor for that is mail to email, right? People didn't send as much mail when you had to put a stamp on it and go to the mailbox and do all that. But email, you're going back and forth so much. So it's almost like everyone sort of becomes I don't want to say a financial advisor at that point, but it's so much easier to get access to fractionalize different things
Yeah.
to where it's almost like, well, why do I want my paycheck to just be my paycheck? Right. I think that's where eventually we'll get where it's like, instead of saving for 10%, let's find the industries that are kind of booming a little bit and have a little exposure to that. So you're offsetting taxes or whatever the case may be. That's definitely how I see the future. So I'm super excited about this. Let's jump right into it. If you want to do the demo real quick, just for the chat, guys, if you have any questions throughout this, feel free to put them in there and we'll get to them as we can. I can actually put the questions up on the screen if there is some questions and things like that. But Jalal, I'll let you take it from here and do the demo.
Sure.
Do I need to? There it is.
Picture this.
You weren't kidding. Under 60 seconds right there.
Yep.
That's super cool. So basically, you've taken all the solidity and all the contract stuff, and like you showed it at the very end, and just said, here it is in an easy to use retail platform, which I think is awesome and absolutely what the space needs.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It was born from our own difficulty getting into the space and building our project and having to go through, we went through like 3, 4 coders, several iterations, got the smart contract audited, and then had to redo it to be like, okay, now we know what works and what doesn't work. That was way too difficult to do for anybody who isn't super technical or doesn't have tens of thousands to invest into this. Let's make it easy for people to get in the space and start.
Absolutely, absolutely. So right now, is there other things that the OSIS platform sort of does? That you have the tokenization. I'd love to kind of just have you screen share right now, sort of the platform, and let's kind of walk through it and show everybody what kind of the capabilities are.
For sure, for sure. I'll pull up our website right now.
Just messing with these different. I can click. Okay, let's put that live. And that's showtime. Oh, that's cool. Look at me. Awesome.
All right, we are live. Sweet, sweet, sweet. So yeah, we got our nice little banner here, tokenize anything in under 1 minute. We're building Web3 infrastructure. We've got a few different things in the pipeline. Our next, two of our next major releases is going to be actually the OSIS exchange. I know, Brian, you have a background in a decentralized exchange. We are building our own DEX. It's going to be very focused on real world assets and tokenized projects in general. We're giving our community a way to actually vote and empower different projects by listing them through voting. So it's going to be a very involved process with our user base. We know that there are a lot of bad actors in this space, and with ease of access, with accessibility also comes bad actors naturally and unfortunately. And so one way that we are tackling that is actually getting users to be the people who verify and vet projects and vote for them to be listed on the platform. So it's really exciting. It's more of a social media than just like a plain old DEX. It'll be like a trading platform and a social media where every project has its own forum and people can talk and upvote each other, and people get rewarded, tipped for being good participants in the space. But we really want to bring transparency and just a better user experience to it. Too many people have been scammed by so and so coin, and there are a lot of legitimate, truly valuable and utilitarian projects that we want to promote and put on our exchange. So that's a big thing that's coming. It's currently under development. We're hoping to release it this summer. The OSIS profile is an integrated integrated part of the entire platform. Imagine this kind of like a universal profile. We have a partnership with Unstoppable Domain, so an Ethereum name service where you can basically convert all of your crazy long hashes that are your wallet addresses and make them into a username. And we actually let our users claim them for free on our platform because of that relationship, which is going to be really cool. Everyone that's following will be able to jump into that in the near future. But this is a cool little part of it. It's really integrated into the ecosystem. The currency is something that is actually currently traded. We just listed it, and this is I've got like a whole vlog about this. It's such a crazy experience to list as a project in today's day and age, especially in a bull market, which is fantastic. But just in general, there are so many things going on, so many people that come at you too, who are real and fake service providers. It's been a very incredible roller coaster being listed. The project is up currently 400% since our listing. We have an all-time high at like 1100%. The currency is actually also used as a governance token within the exchange. This is what people use to vote. The tokenizer is what everyone has already seen and knows. We're actually adding several more chains into the tokenizer. In the future, we're aiming for second quarter of next year. We're going to have actually artificial intelligence built into this, several more chains, and way more use cases for real world assets as well, where people can speak to like a person as if they're speaking to a person to build their project. It'll be a lot more almost bespoke. It'll feel a lot more custom for each individual getting involved, where we can build them what they need for their project.
Oh, that's awesome. So we got a question from Gordon here. He says, is OSIS the pioneer in tokenization market? Have you guys been around pretty long, or?
Well, we've been around since 2021. We've been talking about this since way before tokenization was even a word. So I feel like we could be called a pioneer.
There you go. So Gordon, they are the pioneer in the space. I mean, everything looks like very well thought out. Like you guys, like you said, you're always addressing pain points. And I think that's super important because when you get into the space and you're sort of like, well, I'd like to do this if I had that, and that's sort of how that entrepreneurial spirit kicks in, is like, well, let's solve that problem. And I think that's what so many projects look to do.
Yeah, we really need more people thinking UX and not thinking like so hard on development. Yes, the technology needs to be there and it needs to be clean and working and secure. But as good as it is, and it is really good. Like today's tech in the Web3 space is amazing. It's just not user friendly. People can't get involved because it's just too intense
Yeah.
and too risky too.
Absolutely. It's asking somebody to basically read through the entire code of the internet, what is it? TTIP or TTPS, whatever it is, whatever the
It,
protocol was. It's like basically asking them to understand that before using it. It's like, I don't want to do that.
nope. Nope. And that's exactly the thinking behind the wallet that we're building. It's going to be way more user friendly. We're going to make it like idiot proof, where even if you lose your seed phrase, you're not going to get locked out, which is a lot of people's major problem. But this is something that's also in development for everybody.
That's super cool. So yeah, I mean, I was over here thinking like, oh, it's kind of a cool tokenization platform, but no, you guys are really like the Amazon of DeFi, really trying to do sort of all encompassing one-stop shop. Because like you said, that's the other problem I see in DeFi. You go over here for some yields and you got to take it over here and they'll lend, and you got 20 tabs open to make 14% APR. And you're like, what am I doing? You know?
Yeah. And it's risky too. You make one little mistake and boom, you get hit with like $1,000 fee trying to pull out your money from here. Yeah, it's crazy. You could lose your money any moment. And I'm not saying that to like FUD anybody. I'm only saying that to be extra secure. Like be mindful with how you move in the space until more tools come out where they make it like accident proof.
Yeah. I think it's almost a rite of passage for all the new people that come into crypto. I mean, who hasn't sent USDC to the wrong chain, and
Uh-huh.
some, centralized exchanges like, we don't have that. And it's like, you don't have that. Like we sent one time, I'll never forget this story. We sent USDC on C chain from Avex to, I think it was Kraken or something, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, we can't find it. Like we don't have. You have Avex, you have the C chain enabled. All you got to do is add the USDC address."
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man. Like I get it, people make mistakes, but like this is sort of the thing that I think turns people off, is when it's so difficult when you do make a mistake. We're all human. We're all going to make mistakes. And it's so
Facts.
Wild West that the majority of people don't want to deal with that. They don't.
Yeah, and I see that like the Ethereum name service or NFT domain, unstoppable domains, companies like this are doing a really good job of taking these hashes, like these wallet address hashes across network, cross chain, and putting them all into one username. I love that that's the case. And that's something that we're working on currently, actually building and automating within our wallet. So like you don't even have to look at your Bitcoin address or your USDT TRC20 or your ERC20 or your BRC, like all these different chains. No, you just have a username and you can share your username to somebody else and they can send it to you. Brian.x. There you go.
Yeah.
Send you money. I don't have to think about it. And it'll tell me if I can't send to Brian because he doesn't have it set up in a certain way. Like it won't let you send. That's the future that we're seeing, and people don't have to be scared about what it is right now. It's okay. Get in, watch Brian's channel, check out OSIS. We have like a whole university. We actually have a course coming out this summer to help people along that path. But don't worry, good solutions are on the way. People will be able to navigate without having to learn so much. But learning so much right now puts you in a really good position as like you're going to be a very influential and knowledgeable person in your space, and you could eventually, take that knowledge and monetize it too.
100%. And that's one of my concerns too, when people say, what do you see the future of DeFi, of this technology? And I said the one thing that worries me is that as we get more, into AI and things like that,
Yeah.
if people, and I'm not saying it's on the responsibility of users to, take it upon themselves, but what I am worried about is banks and sort of the legacy systems sort of say, you don't need to learn this stuff, just we'll do biometrics, we'll do this, we'll do that, and they'll maintain control of everything to make it easy for people. And it's like, well, no, that sort of defeats the purpose of what this technology is trying to do. I don't want this to turn into the dark web. And then the front facing web is you still go to Fidelity, you put your biometrics in, they handle all your accounts, because then it's not really self custody. And it bothers me too when you see some of these congressional hearings and stuff like this, like how out of touch they are with
Mhm.
where the technology is. And it's almost like, are they preparing to do a giant overhaul but still maintain control of everything and not pitch it as a decentralized thing? Which again, as long as they never outlawed self-custody wallets or anything like that, then it's fine. But this is sort of our chance to reclaim, as the people, to reclaim the financial system back to us. Is legacy always going to be around? Of course. I'm not this isn't we're going to overthrow the US government or any government, right? And they're not going to get rid of their sovereign currencies, but giving people access in ways that if they so choose, they have that opportunity, I think, is what's important. And at least that's my focus, right? It's why we do the channel, it's why we do everything, because I want people to have the information and be able to access it without relying on somebody else. That's just my whole thing. And
And
I
that's
think you guys are doing a great job of that.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. And that is freedom. Knowing and being able to be independent, that is freedom. That is what like everybody and everything in the world stands for as living conscious beings. That's a part of freedom. And for those of you who want to outsource your freedom to Fidelity and other companies like that, that's your prerogative, and that's totally fine. But everyone should be aware that they're kind of giving that into somebody else's hands. And hey, we've already experienced that in every other aspect of our lives. Blockchain is the one place we have right now where you don't outsource your freedom to other people. You don't have to.
Yeah, and it's like the ZKM stuff and the zero knowledge proof. Well, there you go, zero knowledge proof. But basically, I think what they're trying to accomplish is a way where you can, because again, I do think it's important to make sure that we're not dealing with terrorists, we're not dealing with drug money, all that stuff that they pitch to the public that's so bad about crypto. It's like they're doing that to maintain control. And the Web3 space is like, hold on. we're going to find solutions to that without you storing our data and spying on us and selling our data and doing all that stuff, right? So it's like, we'll solve your problem that you're quote unquote pitching as to why we can't adopt this technology, but we're not just going to turn it over to you so it can be the same old where you store somebody's data, my information gets hacked, I lose my social security. No, we'll find a decentralized way to give you what you want. Hey, I'm not a terrorist, blah, blah, blah. Here it is, right? You can verify who I am, but you're not going to store my data because you've shown time and time again that you're incapable of it. Data leaks. I'm getting calls. I mean, I get calls to this day. I had to buy an entire app just to shut up spam calls, right? That shouldn't be how normal people live their life. We should not be for sale. To be honest with you, I'd love to see a platform where even if the US government wants my information, they need to pay me. Pay me to access my information. And here you go. You need it for a job interview. Guess what? You need to pay me in order to access my information, and it's secured. Whether that's a token, whatever that is, I'd like to see a future like that. I really would.
Yeah, and hey, you bringing that up is really interesting. There are several different platforms that are doing exactly that, where exactly what you said. Our data is currently for sale everywhere else on the internet, and we don't benefit from it as individuals. There are several different platforms that are doing this. I believe Ethermail is one of them. Um, Ethermail is the one that just comes up to mind. I met them last week at a token 2 weeks ago, token 2049, where it's an email service, and anybody that uses their email service can opt into ads, and if you do, you get paid as part of the revenue share thing. And this is something that's made possible through Web3, and it's a really cool, really necessary thing that other platforms are going to start adopting once we have a standard of people being like, hey, no, I refuse to just be used. Other platforms are going to be like, all right, okay, we're going to give you some of that money back. And that's a start to mending and reparations of the relationship. And that's something that we're actually building into the OSIS profile as well.
Yeah.
You can, there it says earn ad share revenue, monetize your online presence. It's something that we strongly believe in, that people should be not monetized. People who are being monetized should also be compensated for that, because they are what makes the platform. Apple is not Apple unless all of us buy their products. YouTube is nothing without the viewers and the creators. So
Yeah.
reward the viewers too.
No, I definitely think that we sort of went from let's start all the way back at magazines, right?
Yeah.
Advertisers used to start in magazines and newspapers. Then it went to TV and commercials. Now we're in the stage of sort of then we went to kind of celebrities, right? Britney Spears had the Pepsi and the Coke. Oh, I got to get me some Pepsi because Britney's drinking it, right?
Yeah.
Then we shifted into influencer marketing, where it's like my favorite funny TikToker, he's drinking Prime from, Logan Paul, whatever this crap is, right? Next is going to be like the model you just talked about in DeBank. DeBank does this too. I don't know if you're familiar with DeBank, but you
Mhm.
can set like your fee, and then projects. We used to use DeBank all the time because it's great. They're already in DeFi, right? So you're not wasting any marketing money, and you're
Yep.
sending to specific addresses. And if they open it, they get paid like $1 in USDC or
Yep.
whatever. So you're getting paid to be advertised to. And I truly do believe that that will be the future of saying, okay, this is my net worth, or you can set it to whatever you want, right? I have $5 to bother me, $10. I don't want to be bothered. You have to pay me $100 to advertise to me. And somebody may do that, right? They may think that you're worth that to send it. And I do think that this just allows to cut through the bullshit of saying, like, just because I like a TikTok influencer doesn't mean that I'm going to like being sold whatever garbage product that they're pushing. I want you to treat me like an individual and
Yep.
pay me to get my attention. And I do think that that's where this is going.
And they've already read you as an individual and know exactly what you like and what you don't like and what you buy. So the second half of that equation has to come in, where they're like, all right, we're going to pay you to put something in front of you. And that's going to be better for advertisers too. I've used all the platforms before for our company and other projects that I've worked on. And it's super important for me to reach the right audience. I don't want to waste marketing dollars on random people, which is currently what's happening. There's like a 99% waste going on. But hey, if I can pay to reach what we both know is the right people, that's a better model for the advertising company, Google or Facebook or whoever else, and me.
It's a win-win all around. It's like the Uber model, I rate the driver, driver rates me, everybody's happy. So it's like, speak directly with me. I'm the person you're advertising to. Just
Yeah.
factor it into the cost of the product, or they send promo codes, but again, folks, there's a difference between receiving money
Yeah.
and 20%, we'll cover 10%, we'll cover the tax on the item that you're going to buy from me. It's
Mhm.
just a different feeling. Even $2 is going to go a long way. I'm going to think more about you, because I'll tell you right now, when I got my first payment from DeBank, when they were, when I opened up, I think it was Rabby Wallet actually, I was just like, this is super cool, right?
Yeah.
Because now they're advertising directly to me, paying to me, they're giving me money, and then they're like, you make the decision, right? And that's what this should be all about. And when I was with the Dex, that's all we wanted to do, was get our information out to users who were already invested in AVEX USDC, right? You're already
Yeah.
in an LP pool, but here's ours and it's better, right? It's got more APR. So instead of just constantly selling, I hate sales. I used to be in sales my whole life, and I hated it. And every sales guru out there is probably going to say, well, that's because you didn't, whatever. No, it's sometimes at the end of the day, every salesperson, if they're being honest with themselves, was pushing a sale for a commission and were not looking out for the consumer as number one, right? They weren't, because at the end of the day, I'm getting a commission check. I'm getting this, I'm getting that. And you're just sitting there trying, no, you just need to tell them why they need it. It's like, well, maybe that person doesn't need it right now, right?
Yeah.
But again, if you're active and you're getting incentivized to be active in the space, getting paid to be advertised to, all of a sudden now you can decide, what is it that I want to buy next, and I've got all this money from being advertised to. And it just kind of fuels the whole economy, if you will.
It's a reimagining of the relationship. Right now, we are the product as users. We are the product, and the product isn't getting treated very well. And it's going from being the product and the thing that they're selling, and becoming the partner to every platform that you're working on. And that's the future that I see that Web3 brings. And that's, again, that's like freedom. Like, this was not possible. This concept of being the partner, or this paradigm wasn't it wasn't really possible until Web3 came, and now it can automate these things with smart contracts, where you don't necessarily have to trust the platform to send you your paycheck. You could automate it where the moment they receive money, it's also coming to you. Like, you can just pull the money out. Things like that. Smart contracts made possible.
Yeah. Well, I think, who knew this, who knew the power of data before anyone else, was, Zuckerberg and all them. When
Yeah.
everybody, hey, Facebook's free. It's like, folks, the old saying goes, if you're not paying for a product, you are the product,
You
right?
are. Yeah.
So I think a lot of people didn't know that in the beginning, that, yeah, Facebook is collecting your data. You think they're just giving you something for free? No, they know exactly what they're advertising to you. They're doing certain things. And I'm just so sick of the fine print. I really am. You get a credit card or Amex underscore, we can sell your information, all this. It's like, dude, can we just stop the games, right? We
Uh-huh.
have the capabilities not to do this bullshit anymore, and just do it in a fair way. You can make money. I'm not anti-capitalism. I'm not anti making money. But I am anti just absolute ludicrous when it's like, it doesn't have to be that way. You can still be a millionaire, a billionaire, but people don't have to be starving, right? There's a difference between being a communist and just saying, let's have common sense here, folks. It doesn't have to be like this.
I quote that, man. Clip that right there. That was a soundbite.
Go. It's just like, if you say anything negative about capitalism, you're a communist. And if you hate like, folks, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to put everybody in a box just because they have a different opinion and a way to see things differently. There's capabilities out there that doesn't put you in that box. And that's all I'm trying to do.
Absolutely.
And again, I apologize to everybody tuning in. I should put a warning on here. I'll go on some rants. It's going to happen. Okay. I apologize now. Apologize again in the future. It's going to happen.
It's the
But
beauty.
anyways, yeah, let's get back on track here so a little bit. So what are some, we kind of touched on some of these features. Do you guys have anything in the works right now that you have coming out soon, that people can look forward to?
Yes, yes. So we actually put together something. So when we started the tokenization journey, a lot of people are tokenizing things like NFTs as well. not NFTs like the 2020 NFTs where it was just a picture and it had no value, no utility. Things like, for example, a university in Mexico. I'm not going to name them. We have an NDA on that part. They're still in development, but they were like, "Hey, we're a big university. People pay a lot of money to get their degrees here, and some people in our internal faculty, which is thousands of employees, are selling these degrees to people, and they're going and getting jobs, and they're not qualified for them, and that makes our name, that tarnishes our name, and we want a way to really verify and allow people to verify that like that degree is legit." And so we're like, "Hey, tokenize it, create an NFT, right? And it'll be on the blockchain and people can search that like they have QR codes on their degrees. They can check that QR code and it'll verify that like, yes, that is the real deal. It's verified on the blockchain. You can't fake it." So they were like, "Amazing, we're going to do that." And so these things need a visual aspect, and that file has to live somewhere. And so we found a lot of different use case scenarios where people are like, "Okay, we need to store our NFTs, our the physical the file that is connected to the asset that is the NFT." And they were like, "Okay, we could put it on Google, we could put it on Amazon, we could put it on IPFS, but really IPFS, which is the like the decentralized Google Drive, you could call it, for NFTs. It doesn't actually hold the file. You need to have it pinned somewhere originally. There's a couple different solutions for this, but we're like, all right, let's create our own vault for people to upload their tokenized assets, their files to, and connect that to the tokenizer as part of the ecosystem. So we now have something that's coming out very, very soon. It's currently in internal testing phase. We have our internal community using it as well, and it's called OSIS Vault. It is, imagine like a truly secure and truly private, zero knowledge, encrypted Dropbox where we're not looking at your stuff. We don't know who you are. You don't even have an email to sign in. We're going to add the email sign in just to make it a little bit easier for new users, but you sign in with your wallet and you can upload whatever you want into the space. We don't look at your stuff. We're not combing through your documents like the way Google Drive and other platforms do. You know, when you search up something in Google Drive, it'll look inside your document, read your whole document, and pull up like one word from the document. So you know they're looking at that, they're reading that, and they're monetizing that. We're not doing that. So it's a more secure private version of what people already have, cloud storage. It's
Yeah.
a lot faster too. And that's the product that we're releasing actually next. Right after that is coming the exchange. We're working with the team that actually built Uniswap's V3 for our exchange. Fortunate to have that connection and that relationship. So there's a lot of cool things coming on the tech side. On the partnership side, we're working with several of the like biggest chains to integrate them into our ecosystem and let users actually tokenize and use these chains. I can't say who just yet. They've all got me locked down with this NDA thing, but I think that's fine. They want to announce it first, so I'm like, cool, I'm happy with that too. But a lot of things in the works. We have some pretty big investment deals coming in too, some big partnerships with major firms that are Web3, which is really cool. I love working with investors that are not just traditional focused, who are like, "Oh, we need it a certain way. We need you to be a certain way." It's like, no, they're actually Web3 minded. They're truly like crypto. Um, they're like Satoshi vision people. So I love to work with people like that. From an investment side, especially. So the project there's a lot of things going on. Most of it is in the background, but it will come to the forefront and it'll bubble up. You'll see announcements popping up like mushrooms over the next coming months. So it's super exciting time to be here, to be around, and to be able to release products and have people using them and getting involved.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. And I always thought this too. I forget who I was talking to it about, but I said the NFTs, the JPEGs, they make no sense to me.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you partner with a file share company, right? And have a .nft file, right? That is the authentic file. That means that when that NFT transfers hands, so does the .nft file. And if you take a picture of my NFT, I can go to properties and I can see that's a JPEG. That's not the authentic file
Yeah.
because it did. I was like, what are we doing here, right? They're just JPEGs and oh, but I own it on the blockchain. Who cares? I could just screenshot it and put it as my profile picture and that's my NFT now, right? So I think there's got to be a way to verify. And I said, why not do something like a .nft, right? Instead of .jpeg or .exe, .nft, right? And that is the authentic file. And when you transfer something on the blockchain, the .nft file goes with it, and boom, now the person is the owner. Something like that, to where, again, blockchain, Web3 needs to get with file sharing companies and figure out a solution, because the JPEGs and the screenshots, oh, well, I own it. Oh, sure you do. It's my profile picture. Who cares? We're going to argue about this and you're going to send me the transaction hash. Like, I don't care. I own it too.
The age of JPEGs is going to be is a short one. People are going to use most NFTs in a completely different way. There's a company that we're working with called Fracted that is tokenizing a house, like a property, and they have like 1,000 people who are buying into this $250,000 home, and it's an NFT. Like nobody cares what it looks like necessarily. Like it could be a an emoji of a picture. It's no, the actual value is in the asset that you hold on the blockchain.
Yeah, absolutely. We have another question from Gordon. I think I already know the answer. You're going to throw the NDA stuff out here, but let's see. I read that BlackRock, Coinbase, Fidelity are interested in real world asset firms. Are you a candidate for them?
I believe just because we are in the space, we're certainly a candidate for them. If you're asking if we're actively speaking to these firms, I can confirm that we are not speaking to them. There's a lot of different things that they got to get into line before we're like, all right, we're cool with you. Coinbase is a little more cool because they are Web3, but companies like BlackRock and Fidelity, it's like y'all are what do you call them? You're just monsters in the traditional finance space, and I want to see you like move a little bit differently before I'm like, all right, I'm down with you. I'm shaking hands and I'm letting you into my company, my ecosystem, into my community. So that's where I stand on that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those companies, they got where they are because the big fish eats the little fish,
Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with that business model. I'm not going to hate on BlackRock or anything. They're obviously one of the largest asset firms in the world,
yeah,
but you like you said, you gotta be careful with who you bring in your space, because what was it, YouTube? They bought YouTube for I don't know, $300 million or something. It's worth 6 billion now. So it's like, when they're approaching you, they know. And a lot of entrepreneurs don't, it's not about the money for them, right? We built this platform and I have a vision for what I want this to be. And I think, and I won't speak for you, I'll let you kind of touch on this, but I feel like that's a little bit with OSIS, is that even if BlackRock came by and was like, Jalal, how's $10 million sound? You might be like, why don't you invest in me and be a minority ownership? I don't want to give up my platform. And I know that's tough for a lot of people. What, $10 million? It's like, you don't have the entrepreneurial spirit, because it's not that easy to give up your baby and things that you've built and a vision for something just to get a payday, to then what, sit on your butt and swim all day and go surfing. I mean, that sounds great and everything, but it's like, what else am I going to do? This is my thing.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We've been approached with by all kinds of firms. Actually, one company wanted to completely buy OSIS out last year just for the technology. They made it clear that they did not care. And I appreciate the transparency. They're like, we don't care about your vision or whatever else. We just want the tech that you built. And I was like, well, shit, we're not, we can't shake hands on that. I don't care if it's a big paycheck. The future that I'm trying to build is so much more important. I'm not there yet. Like you probably feel the same way. It's like, we're not there yet. People don't understand this yet. I haven't reached enough people yet. When I was a lot younger, at the start of my entrepreneurial journey, I met this guy, older dude, and he told me, if you want to become a billionaire, you've got to touch a billion lives. I'm nowhere near a billion people touched just yet. So I'm on that journey, and this is my vehicle. OSIS is the vehicle. It is growing, and it is in a space that is growing rapidly. A lot of people don't realize it. They're looking at Bitcoin, they're looking at Ethereum, looking at all the meme coins and all this stuff going on. They don't realize just how much of a this is like the calm before the storm. Tokenization itself, when more real world assets come on chain, when the entire real estate industry is suddenly being able to be traded like a stock, you can buy a fifth of one Wilshire Boulevard, one of the oldest buildings in Los Angeles, for $1,000. You can buy, you can get involved in all these things. This industry and space is going to go from being $2.5 trillion today to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of trillions of dollars. And it's going to be faster than you think. And
Yeah.
we're here now. We are early adopters. Why would I sell myself short today?
Yeah, I mean, the legacy system, the way I see it is, they obviously want to make sure that they have their hand in the pot. I get that. No incumbent is going to just roll over and die. But I think what the legacy system is sort of seeing is like, I think what's going to bring this about, this is truly what I do believe, and have me on record here. May 1st, they call it May Day. Here's my prediction: there will become a liquidity crisis of some sorts in the future, and people will realize, why would I want to be over leveraged and overexposed to 100% of this risky asset, right? Mortgages or whatever,
See,
when I
yep.
could have just been 5% exposed to that. And I think the liquidity crisis and what comes will put that on display, and that's how they'll pitch to the legacy systems to say, well, you didn't have to have 100% ownership of that, and it wouldn't have burned you as bad. Now you can have 5% of this, 5% of that, 5% of that,
Mhm.
same allocation of money, but your risk is a lot less. And I think that's kind of, oh yeah, why would I want to own 100% of that building in case something happens to that company? It's just a risk adverse type move at that point, right? I could own 10 of them, you know, 10% of 10 of them is better than 100% of one of them. If they're all in the same industry, why would I expose myself to that one tenant that may do something bad? So I think that may be the approach that they're coming. But as everybody knows, the legacy systems, they move like molasses. I
Yeah.
mean, I'll tell you, I first got love it or hate it. I know everybody tuning in right now. I'm an XRP fan. I was because of real estate, and I understood what they were trying to do. They had a very specific mission to say, we want to move money and transfer it cheaply, fast and everything like that. And this is what we're going to go after. And we're going to work with the legacy systems. And I want to say sometimes in this space, you get a little bit of the Bitcoin's going to take over the dollar, people. And it's like, it's not going to work that way. They have the tanks. They got the bombs. They're not going to give it up, okay? Work with them, integrate the system and be early. But they're not just going to say, "Oh, the dollar and the CAD, it all had a good run, but we're done now. We're done. We're just going to use Bitcoin." Folks, Bitcoin is an investment. It is not a replacement. We're not going to go to the store and things are going to be priced in Bitcoin. I do think you'll be able to buy your items at the store in Bitcoin, because I think the POS systems will have an instant, I mean, almost every platform, every chain now has some sort of aggregator instant exchange. As long as there's liquidity for something, you could buy something with whatever. And that's why, again, sorry to keep rambling, but that's why liquidity is so important, is because if OSIS becomes very liquid and things like that, you could go to your grocery store and use it to buy bread and things like that, because then the bank or the store will just convert it to whatever they need, or they'll maybe want to hold it.
Yeah. And that's the vision. The vision, if anyone reads our white paper, we try to give the vision. And the very first part of the abstract says, I'll share it in a moment too. The vision is to kind of go back to our roots, where we had a barter system at the start before we had currency, and it was people exchanging value for value. And when you have a universal value system, which is the blockchain, a person can tokenize whatever they do and trade themselves, like trade their own brand token. This is something that is totally possible, and it's a real thing. Today we trade services for services, products for products. That is all going to be on chain at some point in the future, especially with AI taking over like 99% of jobs in the next decade. People are going to have to get creative and become more entrepreneurial themselves and realize their value and stop doing jobs that they hate and that they really suck at because they hate, and start doing things that are really like unlocking their true passion and what they're good at, leveraging their strengths, and being able to to spend that and use that in a token in themselves. So many people in our community have tokenized themselves. It's pretty interesting. That's another part of things like brand tokenization that is also a part of the future that I'm really looking forward to see how that pans out.
You'll never work a day in your life if you enjoy what you do. It's like this stream. I just enjoy doing it. I have no objective. I don't have a token. I mean, maybe someday. I can't say never, but I have no plans to do that. I just enjoy doing this, and I know other people do as well. And again, I want to thank you, Jalal, for coming on here and sharing the platform and just discussing with people and letting people know the options and the things that are coming in the future. Um, I really appreciate you coming on. You've been a great guest. I see people are enjoying it in the chat, and it's so great to see, guys. Um, Yeah, is there any kind of final words before we get into market insight stuff? We're coming up here on an hour that you kind of want to leave the people with. Anything that's on your mind?
Yeah, yeah. What I want to tell everybody, whether you're in the crypto space, not in crypto space, that this is really just the beginning. We are here at we're here early. We're early to the party. This is just the beginning. And you as an individual are in a really, really advantageous position, but time does not stop or slow down for any of us. So go and get educated, get informed, don't go and waste your money on random stuff and gamble in the market. For example, there are a lot of really, really good utility projects, companies that are really going to shape the future of everything we talked about today, things that are going to bring utility and value to your life and others' lives, and ultimately increase your investment and participation in this world. But that takes you as an individual being that change and getting educated. Check out all of Brian's stuff. Check out some of what OSIS has posted, and get informed, get educated. It will make your life a billion times better, and you're going to be able to spread actual knowledge to people coming into this space who are scared, who are seeing the news, who are seeing all the FUD that comes from things like FTX crashing and fraud and blah blah blah. There's going to be bad actors. This is the beginning of all the craziness. This space is going to only get bigger and bigger, and there are going to be even bigger failures and bigger successes. But it's going to take us as individuals being the early adopters to introduce more people into the space and introduce them right. Do your own research before getting involved in something. I'll be on record saying, hey, please, anybody that's out here taking like crypto bro meme coin advice as gospel, please, for the love of God, stop buying shit coins and meme coins and betting your life savings on them. Do your own research before you get involved into something and make your time and money here meaningful. Utility will always trump and go way further than anything that you could gamble with right this moment. Stop looking at this space like roulette. It is not roulette. The sooner people stop investing in crypto like gamble, make money in 30 seconds on a pump and dump, the sooner we're going to be in a space where it's truly like mass adoption. It'll be mass adoption time.
Yeah. Yeah, and it'll be respected more, and like you said, invest in what is actually what we're trying to accomplish here, right? What is a problem we can solve? Don't create a problem to present a solution that you already had the answer to, right? A lot of times we'll see that, like, we have a problem, we don't have enough gambling. Okay, let's introduce this, gambling situation. You're like, we didn't solve a problem. We just threw something at it, and kind of playing on not people's emotions, but
Yep.
it is a little cheap sometimes because oh, my buddy made this or my buddy made that, and it's like, at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, why am I in this space? What am I trying to accomplish? And like you said, I think there comes almost a bit of self responsibility in this space to say, and it's a positive, right?
Mhm.
What is the future that you want to envision? And you're in a position, you're not arguing about Trump and Biden, you're not doing any of that stuff. You're focused on the future and making things better. And those people are going to come to you when the time is right to say, what should we do? And we say, glad you asked. I've been thinking about this for 10 years, right? And that's sort of the way, rather than, do your drama, talk the tea, whatever you want. I'm not saying don't be a human being, but I'm saying this space, treat it like a baby. Treat it like a baby that needs to be raised right,
Yeah.
and when the time comes, and maybe they try to do something shady with biometrics, and the banks will handle the accounts. It's like, no, we put our foot down now and say we don't need that. And there'll be enough voices out there to say, I'm listening to those guys, right? I like what they're talking about. And
Yeah.
you'll be knowledgeable enough to share that with other people, and it'll spread like wildfire.
And you will win as a result. That is the ultimate fact. The more educated you are, the more you will win in this space, any space.
100%. Well, Jalal, again, thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who subscribed to this channel and continues to tune in. I'm excited to continue to do these. But Jalal, today was super educational, and I think it was really great for everyone who tuned in. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Um, yeah. And anytime, you're always welcome on the channel. If you guys got new things coming up, feel free to reach out to me anytime. Anybody in the chat, if you guys like a project, and you want me to interview them and do sort of the same thing we just did here, I'm happy to do that. Again, this is all for you guys and to understand things better. So, Jalal, thank you again so much, bud. and we wish you the best on everything.
Thanks so much, Brian. Take care.
You too. All right, guys. So now we're going to jump into the market insights section of the program, where we're going to go over the 5 assets we go over every week. We skipped last week, but the market was moving sideways, so it's kind of boring anyways. We'll start off with the old Bitcoin. We called these. We said these lows sitting here. We said, got a lot of inefficiency through here. To be honest with you, let's see how we react from here. Creating this little fair value gap here on the daily chart. I'm going to go ahead and take this out now that we took those lows. If we decide to quickly turn around here and create an inversion fair value gap here, then we can start looking to get bullish and start taking these highs out. If we sort of return back, kind of dance around and continue to go lower, I would expect us to fill in this inefficiency here and even these even lows here. It's just something that I would be looking for. But nothing right now is jumping out to me. This is more of a riskier buy. If you were to kind of just jump in here, I think the market may have a little bit more correction to do. Again, depending upon how you guys trade. Again, I just give you insights into the things I'm looking at. But the thing is again, you'd always want to be looking at least below the 50% on any impulse leg. You'd never got a return here. That's why I'm kind of eyeing these lows here. Could see us taking them out. So again, Bitcoin usually controls the market, but we'll have to see. Let's jump on to Ethereum. And again, I'm sorry, guys, I don't have my extra screen today. So let me see if I can still see the chat. Let me see if I do it like this. So if you guys have any specific questions, go ahead and feel free to put them in there. See if I can make it smaller. Okay, that's better. Let me do this. Sorry, it's the first time I'm doing this. I got a new monitor, so I didn't hook up the other one. So I'm just doing it all in the same one. All right. No? Bear with me. Where's the damn screen at? I want to pick up that one. Maximize? What is going on here? Okay. And we're back. Let me see how that looks now. Okay, that's better. Okay, and we're back. So now we're going to look at Ethereum here. Sort of the same thing. One of the lines that I just pointed out here, guys, I just want to show you how many times when you go below old swing lows, how price reacts, right? So you can see here, we go above these two highs, we just wick above, and then we're back down targeting these lows. We talked about the week before, I think, when this candle here, remember we were talking about this level with this inefficiency here, and it looked to be holding nicely with these candles. And then we had this one close here. And I said, I'd expect this low to be taken out now. So we did pull back just to kind of come up here and take this liquidity. And then we, of course, as of today, we came down and shot through this low here. Again, it's sort of in the same position Bitcoin is. I'd want to see us kind of reclaim this level and come up here, and then we can start targeting some of these highs. But for now, again, nothing for me personally is screaming, let's jump in and buy this. We have taken some nice points of liquidity to the downside. But again, nothing that's jumping out and saying, let's get into Ethereum. We're ready to bounce up and take out a new high at 4,100. Moving on to XRP. Again, this bad boy's been about consolidating for 6 years, but I think we started talking about XRP in March over here, and I said I'd like to see some of these lows taken. We've taken out these lows. Again, I'm still eyeing this inefficiency down here around 40 cents at least. I could even see us clearing this whole thing completely and then bouncing. Some of you may be trend line traders and things like that. Maybe you're eyeing something here. I personally don't trade with trend lines, but to each their own. What I am saying and what I am seeing here now is that I don't think that this may be enough. Again, thing that would change my mind is if we get back above this level here, this kind of 64.3 level with a candle close above, then I would start thinking we go on to attack some of these highs. But as we talked about from the beginning, the only thing I really saw here was we came up and took out these highs here with a wick. Once I saw that, I said, that's not good. Anytime you push through highs like this, especially on a break of structure, once you were already retracing, you're going to want to have a candle body close above that, which we have yet to see. So again, gun to my head, I'm coming down to these lows here, at least fill in this inefficiency around 40 cents. Don't be surprised. XRP is notorious. I called this in 2020 when it's on my Twitter. It's my pinned tweet on my Twitter profile. I said there's an inefficiency below these lows over here at 11.2, right? See this inefficiency? Let me zoom in on it. I said there's an inefficiency here at 11.2 sitting below all this liquidity. Don't be surprised if it goes down there and takes that before rallying. And that's exactly what it did. Again, I'm not trying to say that I'm the guru of the market and everything that I say is always going to be right, but I did exactly like the tweet said. I said, I feel it's just right to inform people. Anytime you've got lows built up with an inefficiency below it, that's a very high probability area to attack. So again, would I be surprised if, again, like the SEC stuff, they were getting sued, they came down, took these lows, and then went on to rally? I would not be surprised if we take some more of this trend line liquidity and just even lows in general. So again, we'll keep an eye on that. AVEX, moving on to Avalanche. Ever since we broke down through here, I said we're definitely coming down to these lows here. And now I'm sort of eyeing this low here that once again is sitting above this inefficiency. Depending upon how well versed you guys are in trading or anything like that, I'll kind of keep it simple and complex. But again, we just came up and swept this internal liquidity here. Could I see us maybe bouncing around and maybe coming back up and fill some of this inefficiency? Of course, right? So if they bounce from here and continue to go higher, I would definitely be looking to probably sell some more of my positions. I doubt we'll reclaim all the way up from here. Again, that what they'll do is they'll make the market makers will look like this is support if they bounce from here, and then they'll come down and attack it again. So for me, gun to my head, this low, come back down, fill in some of this inefficiency over here, and attack this low again. Because again, folks, why do they attack lows and highs? Because that's where the liquidity resides, right? Whether you're trading on leverage, somebody is, right? Somebody's putting their stop loss, and the market makers target those areas in order to pair orders in the opposite direction. So again, AVEX for me, I'm going to probably be waiting all the way until we at least take this low. But again, don't be surprised if maybe we take this low here, maybe something like this. Let's do a path. Where's the path? I swear I can never find this stuff when I actually need it. There it is, path. So maybe something like take that low, create a double bottom, and then something like that, right? But again, there's a whole bunch of different options that it could do. It could just continue down from there. But again, we don't guess. We play follow the leader in this market. And for me right now, there's no glaring buy opportunity for long-term holds. So we'll move on to Telos. Now, Telos is interesting. Telos has come down and already swept this low here. And they've put in these real even highs up here. These will eventually be targeted. Now, whether Telos comes down to fill in some more of this inefficiency and sweep this low first, it's really up for, it's not entirely clear. Let's put it that way. Again, it's nothing screaming buy here for me like we've had positions in the past. But again, these highs are very, very lucrative. These will be taken at some point. I don't know when, but these will be taken out. They put these up there basically to build liquidity again. If anybody's going short on Telos, they're putting their stops above this level. So that's going to be a level that they want to take out. Could we take it out from here? Absolutely. Could we come down here and fill some of this in? Yep, because we're already reaching into sort of this inefficiency that was left behind here. So we could bounce from here, but we'll have to see. Again, is it a huge buying opportunity? No, but I wouldn't be. It's not a bad area to add some Telos if you guys are looking to add Telos at this level. Let's move on to Mantle. Again, here's the thing. We were eyeing this level here with this inefficiency. The problem I had was the rejection here at this inefficiency. Once we got back up here, I would have liked to see us break through this. So if you guys see this sort of fair value gap that existed here, I wanted to see a candle body push through that. We didn't get it, and then we actually engulfed the candle next to it, which is not good at a resistance level. So yeah, I sort of got out here at $1.19. I wasn't too sure. I said, now we're going to come down and take this low. One of the things I did want to point out to you guys is these blue lines that I've drawn on of the points of liquidity. Anytime you're, and again, this is just something for your notes, maybe to sort of add to your artillery, but you always almost want to see some form of liquidity sweep prior to entering your position. What I mean by that is, do you see how these lows were put in here and we first swept them? And again, on a lower time frame, we would have done the same move here where we put in a low and then we took the low and then took off, right? That's really what you want to see when you're buying. That's one of the basic things, and kind of just, the overall view of market makers is that's what they're engineering liquidity and then taking liquidity. So again, buying here and anticipating this to break through, yes, it could have. And again, we had to watch when we got to this resistance level how it acted. And I apologize, we didn't do a market insights last week, but I would have told you guys here, I don't like. Yeah, see, the last market insights was here on the 24th. I would have told you guys we're targeting this low because of the reaction that we had off of this inefficiency on M&T. Again, there's nothing bullish about hitting a resistance level and then creating an engulfing candle like that. So again, I apologize. Last week's went a little long. I don't know how many people tune into the market insights portion. But yeah, that was sort of what I was seeing on M&T there. Overall, the market is still bullish. There's nothing to be getting super bearish about. I'm not saying Bitcoin's going to 12K or anything like that. We'll follow along. We'll continue to see the levels. And yeah, we'll just continue to do this every week. If there's certain tokens that you guys do have interest in, feel free to post them on my Twitter, message me, whatever, and I'll definitely include them. I just know I include these 5 because this is sort of the community that we have following. But today we had a project from, whatchamacallit? We had a project from Matic, from Polygon. So again, if you guys want me to check out specific assets that you're looking at, I'm happy to do that. We can jump into different time frames, but just so you guys are aware, that's what I do. I'm a trader by nature. That's what I do in the futures market and things like that. So I'm able to do streams like this. So again, I just want to say, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. This is fun for me. I enjoy doing this and just talking to the projects. Guys, like I said, over 100 subscribers in like a month and a half, doing this like 5 episodes. So that's super cool for me. I know most people celebrate like 1,000 or 10,000, but 100 is cool for me. I'm happy with whatever we get. As long as you guys are getting some value out of this stuff, I'll continue to do it. And I really hope that you guys are. And it seems that you are. You guys commenting on posts and things like that. So again, if you have any recommendations or projects that you think I should reach out to, I'm happy to reach out to them. Or if you guys have a contact, feel free to have them DM me. And we'll get them on here and get some more exposure for the project, allow you guys to learn about different projects and sort of a safe environment to where then you can just make your own decision, right? I'm not pushing any specific project. Whatever you guys want to do your own research. We're just bringing extra information to you and things like that. So I think that's going to do it for this week. Next week, we're going to get real technical. My guest, Haley, I'm not even going to try and explain it. She does a whole lot of different things, and she's in a project right now. I don't even know. It's going to be super cool, though. She's super smart. Love talking with her. She's super involved in a lot of conference stuff and does a lot of events in Web3, which is something I've always been kind of passionate about, going to consensus and things like that. So super excited to have her on next week. We'll check back in on the market insights. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. As always, If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter, on Telegram. Anything that works for you guys works for me. But until then, have yourselves a fantastic week.